I'll just try to make a brief video. Yeah, I was pissed at that appeals court. Was it the 8th Court of Appeals, full of Trump appointees that said that put a stay on the Biden student loan thing, and they promised it was going to be months before this was resolved. This is payback for the elections. They went ahead and they put off a decision till right after the election, and of course it's legal. And it was so bogus. It was so totally bogus about, oh, the state's tax bases. God, nobody gave a damn when Biden had student loan forgiveness, or Obama or Trump, any of those programs that forgave student loans, nobody took it to court. But when something proved politically popular with a key demographic, although this would have benefited older career changers who then got laid off, like yours truly, they decided, we're going to put a stay on it, or we're going to put a hold on it. It's a bunch of bullshit. And then, of course, Democratic Underground, probably the biggest troll on there, and I won't say who it is, but they had a thread on there, and I assume it's a he said, well, everybody knew it was unconstitutional. He's such a fucktard. I can't believe it. I can't believe that guy hasn't been banned. He's one that has the little North Carolina avatar. And he's always been a troll over there for years and years. I'm amazed he hasn't been kicked off of there. There's several of them on there that I'm really amazed. But somebody like me gets thrown off for wrongthink. These damn trolls stay on there for years and years and years. But, yeah, he didn't know what he was talking about. And then a record number of women are in the governorships now. And, they're elected on their own. In the old days, and as Nellie Ross was the first, had refused campaign but easily won in Wyoming. Of course, she inherited the seat, quote unquote, when her husband died. And that's usually how women got the governorship. Or their husband couldn't succeed himself, like with George Wallace back in the 60s. So his first wife, Lurleen Wallace, ran for the governorship and won, and then she died in office. They knew she wasn't actually running it. It was George that was actually running it. She was just a rubber stamp. And that would happen. You'd see that occasionally. But those days are long gone. Now women are getting elected on their own. And so a record 12 of them. And I don't know if that's including Katie Hobbs, who just won her race against Trump zombie Kari Lake in Arizona. So I don't know if it includes that. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of them. And it says here, Alabama, Iowa, Kansas, Maine, New Mexico, Michigan, and South Dakota re-elected their incumbent governors, while 3 female candidates in Arkansas, Massachusetts, and Oregon were elected for the first time, and then Arizona is also in there. And then in New York, after she filled in for Cuomo, who was a jerk. So anyway, yeah, there's lots and lots of it anymore. I mean, not enough, not to warrant parity. That's not 25 governors, but that's pretty good showing. But anyway, it's still in doubt what party or the other has won Congress that hasn't been. They expect the Republicans to eke out itty-bitty majority. They, meaning the pundits, CW, etc. And then it's all single women's fault that the GOP got their asses handed to them, as we all know. Because if you're married, I mean, it's so much better to be married, right? Yeah. And, oh, let's find husbands for these women. You know, make them prostitutes. I mean, let's face it, that's what the whole racket is. But, and of course, a lot of people would be mad at me for saying it, but that, you know, the truth hurts. It says here, we have to reckon that this is a political force. On the right, we love to mock and complain about this, but millennials will have the highest proportion of unmarried and childless. Yeah, we're less of a person because we don't have kids. You're full of shit. Hitting 40, probably in all of human history, and they will vote to ruin your life. Oh, well, you ruined your life by fucking a dude legally. That's from the Federalist, some Federalist idiot. Guess what? Because they're more likely to be poor. And oh, yeah. Yeah, well, of course, most public schools, 3/4 of public school teachers are married. Of course. Of course. You find this all the time. And you always hear this crap, well, they could better identify with the parents if they're married. You've heard this bullshit, you know, and that's doesn't mean anything. Your marital status has nothing to do with your ability to teach. And I'm miserable. Oh, God. J.D. Vance, we're effectively running this country via the Democrats by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and choices they've made. I don't want to be a fucking whore. You know what? I didn't want to prostitute myself legally to have all the little bennies. Because that's what you're saying, that women should just prostitute themselves to be valid. I mean, Andrea Dworkin hit it right in Right-Wing Women. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a wife or a whore, because it's two sides of the same coin. And if you refuse to be either, there's a lot of stigma attached to it. Because women, because of the way the economy's set up, women can't afford to have self-respect for the most part. But yeah, they're the most likely to be poor. And it isn't just being minority or a parent, single parent. And of course, a lot of this is driven by the backlash against Dobbs. And we now know that the Dobbs decision was key. They tried to poo-poo it. The pundits tried to poo-poo this stuff. Well, of course it's a war on women, dumb shit. Of course it's a war on women. And who wrote this article? Was it a man? Oh, no, it was a woman. Okay, for a miracle. And then, if you want to get some background on their attitude, on the attitude of the right, this was about from a year ago, about this nonsense called complementarianism. You know, separate but equal. We've heard it before, you know, with you know, prejudice against racial minorities. You know, they're separate but equal. But you don't dare integrate, because that's not okay. It's not biblical here for women. And of course, this complementarianism was a backlash against the feminist movement, second wave, because the men in charge, let's face it, the men in charge were afraid women were going to start demanding a bigger piece of the pie. In the church, not just, and of course in the greater world, and also in the home, because men don't do jack shit, right? They just dump it all on women to do. Hence why more and more, one of the reasons more and more women are putting off or not bothering to marry at all. I mean, it's pretty evident. But anyway, they go into this long, because the New Yorker, you know, I don't think they have editors, but they go on and on about biblical womanhood. And, oh, you know, you have separate spheres. I mean, this goes back to the 19th century with as a response to suffrage. Well, women have separate spheres, and men and women do. Of course, men can do whatever they want. They can take on any job they want. But women are tied to their biology because they're subhuman, right? And they're only valuable as Dworkin would say, sex organs to be used. And then that school board, I don't know what in the hell, that school board in Ontario, Canada, said it's okay for that dude to parade around in fetish props. I mean, he's a sex offender, okay? I don't think this would play in the United States. I really don't think it would play in the United States because the school districts here are way more politicized. I don't think it would play anywhere here. They would get run out of town. They'd be forced to resign. Anybody on the board that allowed it. And, I mean, it's boundary violations, if nothing else. But this dude, and I think his name's Kevin, I think his real name. But he, the shop teacher began teaching class while, you know, being a caricature of a porn star. And are women going to be allowed to dress that way too? They're afraid of a lawsuit, but you ignore women that might file a lawsuit because they can't wear what they want. Clear sex discrimination here. And it says here, ironically, the Ontario Human Rights Code policy on sexualized and gender-specific dress codes was written to protect women from being forced to dress in a sexualized way by employers. But men could do it, right? Men could do it. You know, this world is really beyond hope. And I understand that they had that thing in New York, that speakers event in New York, and Kelly J. Keene could not get down to the event because no cop would escort her there, I think was the deal. And then I think it was Karen Davis had a series of little clips from the event, and one perv was down there, and he was either he was doing it or he was pretending to masturbate in public, and she had that on the video, and nobody did anything about it. But that's what these guys are. They're a bunch of perverts. I mean, it's so obvious what they are. Yet this is the big civil rights movement of our time. Too bad Karen doesn't take it and take those video clips and send them to Jeff Merkley in the Senate or even Joe Biden. It's really too bad because that pretty much exposed them for what they were. But anyhow, yeah, that's kind of a roundup of what some of the things I've been thinking about since the last week's election. That's it.